This is the 8-9 Combo.
This is the 8-9 Combo. I'm Brett McKay. This is Harry Jones there at the DHL Stadium in Cape Town. This is the Rugby Championship post-mortem following the Boks win over the Wallabies there in Cape Town. Harry Jones, our man on the ground, loving the background noise already. Are Boks fans happy with that?
How's it, Brett? I have no idea what you just said, but the celebration is ongoing.
Oh, this is going to be really easy then. Really easy to do this. Before we rip into their now second TRC Post-Mortem, we obviously want you to subscribe. Hit the red button down there in the corner. If you're listening on the pod platforms, then hit like, hit follow, hit subscribe, whatever it happens to be. We'll try and get through this. This is going to be a challenge if you can't hear me, mate, but certainly we go with the Boks have won their game, 30 points to 22 at the Not Newlands Stadium there in Cape Town. 3 tries each. Australia with a couple of missed opportunities for bonus points. The 5-word headline, mate, what is it?
Overconfidence turns to underconfidence.
Yeah, that's
the
not
Boks
bad.
was very nervous, shaky, didn't take advantage of clear opportunities throughout the match, and it seemed like they're really in a bit of a weird headspace.
Yeah, which sort of leads us nicely into mine, which is simply Springboks win, however, ... Because I think there's more than a few question marks about their shape, the defensive opportunities that are being presented in the background for teams that want to kick through. How do you try and sum this up?
Well, it's interesting at halftime. I thought the score was closer, but both teams would have liked their chances better than a week ago, which is kind of odd.
Yes.
The Springboks would have liked 2010, even though it's not as good, because it looked like it was based on proper rugby. Australia would have just looked at the actual score and said, but we're only down by 10 instead of 17.
Yeah.
And with the belief of a week ago, they would have thought we can come back in. So the second half, actually, when it started, I just wondered who would seize control. And I think the answer is no one did. Neither team really seized control. And they played out the match sort of how you would think a team that's up 20-10 or 22-5 should, which is just have enough. Handre Pollard obviously was a big change. I watched Manie Libbok on the bench the whole time, and he was commenting with Billy LaRue. The two of them were having conversations, and I was hoping that Manie Libbok got from that how to run a match when things aren't particularly going really well. It was, I don't know if it came across on TV, but the surface was really greasy.
Yes.
And I ran into Harry Wilson before, and I literally said, "What's the field like?" And he said, "It's fucked." And I think when he said it's fucked, he meant that there was no surface under the surface. So the minute there was a little bit of play, it was exposed, and it was difficult for both teams to build an attack.
Yeah, you could certainly see it was heavy. You could see through the warm-ups it was heavy, and the amount of mud on white shirts and gold jerseys. We haven't seen, old school mud rugby like that for a long time in the professional game. It was a really interesting one. So 3 tries each, as I mentioned. The Boks certainly started pretty well. Scored that try. They kicked that penalty early on to Pollard, who was perfect off the boot all night. Was man of the match in the end. Corey Toole scores the first try for the Wallabies on debut, and he was excellent. We might come back to him, but it was always going to be a fairly kick-friendly game. Pollard was putting up kicks all over the place. I'm sure he kicked the ball more than he passed because he was in the game a whole lot. They were making up aerial contests wherever they could. The Kane Moody scored, the 11th minute to get it back. Fraser McWright had a try disallowed. There was a Kellaway knock on in the tackle. And then Quagga Smith scores on halftime, and that makes it 20 points to 7. O'Connor kicked a penalty just before halftime to make it 20 points to 10. And then I said on the socials as well, mate, that it was, the first 10 minutes were going to be crucial for the Wallabies, because it's not quite well in hand, but it was going to be a matter of how well the Wallabies could stay in the contest. And they score the try. Jorgensen scores that try early on. They get it back into within, 3 points. Pollard kicks again. Then they score the maul try to Pangramosa, and then O'Connor starts missing kicks. He missed that conversion, missed 2 penalties late in the game as well, and then even Etzebeth scores the try to put him out by 8. So, that's the crux of it, I suppose. Where do we go? What worked? What didn't work? Maybe what would South Africa be happy with tonight?
And I just want to make sure you understand that the reason why it's been difficult for me to exactly hear what you're saying is our friend Chook and his intro is on a loop right now, and I hear him speaking with you at the same time.
That's
over
strange.
and over. However, I do think the Springboks could come away from the match realizing that there is a way to play that suits them best. It still means that you have to take advantage of the opportunities. I think for Australia, I do think there were some moments there where it looked like they kind of lost their way. It was a bit circular. There were moments where people were just throwing the ball backward to someone else, hoping that would be better. And I think sometimes you just truck it up. Will Skelton showed that on a slick, sort of greasy turf, I don't know if he can get enough purchase to explode, whereas Rob Ballatini did look good in those moments.
Yes.
I think we saw that Corey Toole's speed in and of itself, just the speed, is a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
And it stretches the field. It stretches how you have to position yourself. So that's something promising. And then I think also, to some extent, the scrum, even though it had its wobbly moments, it looked all right on a night when there was going to be a lot of scrums.
Yeah, no, that's all fair. And I think even line out, save for there was a late overthrow toward the back. I think the Wallaby line out worked pretty well. They'll be happy with that. I'm glad you mentioned Corey Toole. I don't mind admitting that I've been skeptical of his ability to step up from Super Rugby to Test Rugby. I just think his size and his game just isn't quite suited, but he made it work in this game. He showed elements that makes him so dangerous at Super Rugby level that I didn't think he would get those opportunities in Test Rugby, and the opportunities are there because maybe there are still a few issues with the South African defensive setup in that there is a bit of space in behind. He gets that little kick in behind. Nick White rubbers through for him to score that first try. There was numerous kicks ahead that the Wallabies were able to get back. They very nearly scored another couple of tries from that. So, I mean, that worked really well. They'll be happy with that. Certainly, they'll be feeling like they left points out there. There was a couple of times in the first half they kicked to the corner when maybe going to poles might have been a better option. And then obviously O'Connor's couple of missed kicks toward the end, are going to have to be spoken about as well. What do you think the Boks are going to have issues with out of tonight?
Well, I had a nice little chat with Victor Matfield, one of the great line-out kings and mechanics. And he was saying that the Bok line-out is a shambles. He said it's chaos. And I started looking closer at the line-outs in the second half. And I do think there's a real problem in the middle where you can make your defensive opponent bite and shift. And there's a middle part of the line-out where almost everything really happens. And I watched that, and I think I saw exactly what he was meaning, is that there's something very wrong with that part. Even if I think the Boks sort of survived the line-out, and I also saw a couple of line-outs by the Wallabies that went astray, it just seemed like it wasn't on lockdown. Other thing is the breakdown seems to me to be the Wallabies' prowess right now. born of maybe misery in the Lions series, heartbreak. I think they really took on those lessons, and they're approaching their cleans in a beautiful way, inside and outside. And I think Laurie Fisher can, if he's doing that, I'm sorry, I don't know if he is.
Collision,
probably take some heart from that. For the Boks, I think there's a worrying sense of the transition where you're in the middle of doing something like a business trying to grow through an awkward size, tailing off the old products and putting in the new products, but not doing too much. And that's where I think they're approaching this rugby championship. I also talked to someone that I won't name in the Springbok camp who said, it's almost like we're not taking the rugby championship itself seriously enough. We're just taking part of it. And maybe that's just where teams are when they rebuild and shift. Not seriously, but not seriously as much as the particular test in Eden Park, the particular test coming up at the end of year tour. And maybe that's sort of Joe Schmidt was criticized for not taking a Lions tour above all other things when he said, well, we're learning some things for later in the year. So maybe Joe Schmidt had circled these two tests, because it looked to me at final whistle, the Wallabies were really upset that they really kind of thought they had something here that could have really done something momentous.
I think that's fair. I think, and I think I said on the socials on full time, I think both teams walk away annoyed with that result, because they'll feel like they definitely had opportunities to play better. They'll definitely feel like they had opportunities that they left unconverted. I'm interested in your point about the Boks, moving parts and all that. And it's not a question of too much depth, but can you make too many changes? Is that becoming a factor?
It looks to me, obviously, that the midfield can be settled if it's Damon Dialende, who looked a lot better to me than Handre a week ago.
Yeah.
But I do think the back three as a unit has not looked proper yet. Going for the high ball, sure, but what to do next? I didn't feel like there was clarity around the pictures they were seeing in the quadrants in which they got the ball. It always seemed like to me there was danger when they were making those decisions. Whereas when it was Pollard, Reinach, Williams, and to some extent the heavy carriers for the forwards, I felt like that was looking proper. I think that the edges looked a bit iffy.
Yeah, well, yes.
I think Kana Moody in particular came in for some heavy stick around me in this section. And literally at some point, there were a lot of people just saying, get involved, get busy, do something.
Yeah, well, so there were a few mistakes in them today. Afalali Fassi had a few moments he'd like back, I'm sure. And I don't even mean the yellow card. There was a couple of his kicked out in the full. There was a couple of passes missed marks. There was a few times he was turned over. So it did feel like there was opportunities in the backfield for the Wallabies there.
Yeah, I think I think both teams will take a lot. The coaching staff will take a lot from both sides to say we got to do better. And also, obviously, for the Boks, they faced an unusual situation where they're playing the Wallabies in Cape Town on a second round of a rugby championship, and it felt like a knockout match. It felt like watching Rossi walk around before kickoff. He looked incredibly intense. He looked lonely. He was by himself for a lot of it, just strolling up and down midfield and looking around almost as if I lose tonight, the knives will come out. The pitchforks will be aimed at me.
Yeah, that's interesting. The concern for the Wallabies will be the injury toll. I have no doubt. I mean, they'll pick their game apart, I'm sure, obviously, but they lost Tom Wright with a knee injury early. They lost Nick White, went off inside the first quarter and then failed an HIA. Joseph Kusa-Suali'i failed an HIA at half time. James O'Connor at one point went down with an ankle. Taniela Tupou went down at one point holding his knee, but then appeared to get his fingers strapped, and that seemed to fix that. So I don't know how that's gonna work out, but I think they'll be.
How are you? Sorry.
I think. Hello.
That's it.
Just random crowd shots from Cape Town.
Cheers.
Now. We're all good.
Just say hi to some friends. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I can see that. They'll be happy to get back on a plane, I think, and recover from what's been a pretty hard 2 weeks, because that's more than a dozen players have gone down since the last Lions test now.
It's Corey Till getting his cap with his probably his mom and dad, actually.
Oh,
just
nice.
so you know.
Yeah, cool. No, that's really good.
Yeah,
I can see that.
it's a great moment. By the way, there's so many parents on this Wallabies trip that I'm actually surprised how many families are here, sort of scrambling over these sort of bottom 7 or to 10 rows to get moments with their boy, reconnect. It's actually quite nice to see.
Yeah, cool. What's this next week look like now? We go into a travel week before the Wallabies come home, host Argentina in 2 tests over the next 3 weeks, and then obviously the Springboks go to New Zealand for a couple of games there. So what's this next week look like in South Africa, mate?
So the talk before this test was that this was probably going to be a template for what was going to Eden Park, except it wasn't in the end because of the late injury that actually brought Andre Esterhuizen in.
Yeah.
And taking Jean-Luc Dupré.
Jean-Luc Dupré, yeah.
So we still have sort of weird thing where at 8 and 15, the Boks are not settled. However, the rest of the team did look like it would probably look, barring injury. I would think they're going to make sure they understand their shapes on exit, on second phase, where they want to be if they're in the middle of the field, or we kick over. One more phase. I think most matches, they don't want to go one more phase. Counts. They want to go ahead and kick over and find kick space and manipulate. Obviously, the All Blacks are a different beast, but there's a lot of similarity in how the All Blacks and the Wallabies play. So decent enough prep, I think. Overall, I'd say the Wallabies came out of this 2-game series probably a lot better about themselves, and the Boks probably feeling worse. So there's probably, it's the kind of thing that coaches like to do, which is you win a game, but you kind of feel like you didn't win it very well, and everyone listens better in practice.
Yeah. When you win a game, but you can review it and analyze it like a loss, you probably get a lot out of that. Yeah. What's the what's the concerns for the Boks then? Is there concerns about the way they were opened up? Like, your personnel aside, is there concerns about the way they were opened up and that they do provide some space in the backfield?
Well, just go in stats. So look for 4 years, how many times the Boks gave up 3 or more tries, and you'll find that it's a handful. And now you have two in
2
the
weeks.
first 2 proper tests of the first 2 tests against Tier 1 nations. And it's against the Wallabies, who haven't necessarily been just ripping sides apart.
No.
Although they're a good attack, you would think that they would not be able to do 9 tries in 2 matches. So that's concern 1, 2, and 3 is block defense.
Yeah, no question. The Wallabies will take a lot out of this tour, no doubt. There'll be growth in confidence. There'll be growth in belief. The fact that they've gone away and done something that so many Australian teams before them haven't been able to do, win at Ellis Park. That's something that's going to bond this group together for a long time going forward now. So they've got to go with that. They've all got to get fit in terms of shaking off injury concerns and things like that, because that has certainly been an issue over this last few weeks. But I think ultimately both teams will be relatively satisfied. I mean, Australia will be quite happy despite the result in tonight's game.
No, this is a disaster for the
Boks. No.
Nah, the Ellis Park loss was historically bad, And this was not the
that's
proper
fair. That's
response.
fair.
It was not.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be utter annihilation today. No hope. Sobbing Wallabies, demoralized, emasculated. This wasn't it. This was a so-so response with the crowd probably walking away thinking, what the fuck is wrong with us still? I mean, even though it's a win, it's just, standards are incredibly high here in Springbok Nation. And this was putrid. And also, there's a great feeling that, we just need to be on our toes and just survive. It's not a question of sweeping through the rugby championship anymore. It's like, this looks like a good group, but horribly wrong. And we don't know exactly what the cause is. Everyone's got a theory. Grab 25 people in the street, you'll have 25 theories about what's wrong, who's not in, who should be in, and how bad Tony Brown is wrecking South African rugby.
Yeah, true. And that plays into my headline, actually, Springboks win, but however. So, that's fair. How much do you think the surface played a part in the game tonight? In the Boks not being able to play the game they wanted
Sorry,
to?
Can you say it again? Because I just hear Chook talking the same time as you that one moment. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
I still hear him.
And that's very weird that that's playing in your ears, because it's certainly not playing for us. Obviously, there's been a lot of rain in Cape Town this week. The playing surface was heavy, as we said. Did that prevent the Boks playing the game they wanted to play?
Yeah, I think so. But I think the Boks kicked enough. They just didn't kick for territory. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Usually you kick for territory. There was a moment where, sorry, I'm doing an autograph right now.
Jesus. Show it. I want to see this autograph on camera.
Official.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
man, you want to be on?
Hello, mate. How are you?
There you go. Cheers. Here's your pen. Yeah.
That'll
Cheers.
do, man.
It did. It shaped the game, and it should have shaped the game for a scrum, a mighty, powerful scrum with kick territory. It turned out the Wallabies had that same idea and did it quite well.
Yeah. That's fair. So
the kick regain kind of went. There was a to and fro about the kick. Probably overall, the Boks did better on the kicks.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's fair.
Now I've opened up. I need more autographs. So here we go.
Oh, great. We're turning this into an autograph session. So, do you think the Boks take a different looking squad to New Zealand, or are you expecting a consolidation of this current playing group?
There won't be that much deviation. This was definitely a dress rehearsal, but again, it's the game managers who fits with who. Is Williams, Pollard, or Reinach, Lubbock, or maybe even Sasha? Which one functions better in this thing we're trying to do? What is this thing we're trying to do?
Yeah.
I think that's the problem is what's it supposed to be? And Eden Park is obviously the graveyard of rugby dreams.
Yeah.
And so you have to approach that as if it's extreme jeopardy and you're walking a tightrope. So I'd probably see a lot more Pollard with Reiner.
Yeah.
Maybe Williams and Sasha to bring it home. I thought Sasha looked pretty good. Obviously, it's prejudicial here because we love him so much. So when he comes on, the whole stadium goes mad. But no, it was good to see him on the field.
Yeah. The Wallabies, I think, have got a few concerns around backline shape. Obviously, it was injury forced tonight, but there was a lot of disconnect. There was a lot of clunkiness. There was periods where I think even O'Connor and Edmed didn't know who was playing 10, who was playing 12, who was playing 15.
I saw that. Tane Edmed! I was so happy. I was happy to see Tane Edmed on the field, even though I thought sometimes got fed into a wood chipper.
Yes, he did. He got folded a couple of times. Andrew Kellaway showed his football nous. He's slotted into 13 at different points. And looked all right. Played 70-odd minutes. I think the Wallabies will be most happy that they got an hour out of Rob Valentini. It might have even been 70 minutes before Nick Champion de Crepney came on, and he was really good, Valentini. He certainly added to them tonight.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, brother, I'm off to the presser now. I'm going to try and catch and see what the coaches thought about all this and see if it matches what we did.
Yes, it's a good point. We'll leave it there, mate. The weekend post-mortem is behind us. Tell us what you think by following Harry and I on the socials. You can follow the 8-9 on the socials as well. Leave comments everywhere, shares, ratings, reviews, all of that as well. This is the 8-9 combo, the short side set piece combination you didn't realize you needed in a rugby podcast, and that now signs autographs, apparently. I'm Brett McKay. He's Harry Jones, and we will be back in your ears in a few days' time with another great rugby chat.
Come play with us.
See you, mate.
Here goes Jones with another bruising run. He links up with McKay, who pops back to Jones. They can't. They won't. They will. What a try. The Dream Team combo go in again.